It's like a barbershop for people that are into music.
Milwaukee's been a music town, so to go, I go on a diatribe when you light me up on music. So I like the thought that people have made an effort to find us, and we don't hold back. Everyone's welcome here for every interest, and it's hard to have something for everyone. But if you have a smile and you have an olive branch, come on in. That's how we find out about music a lot of times, interacting with people. It's cool to see them thumb through the racks, and small shop, and people seem to find that little splinter of happiness.
It was a record store, but it made all its money selling pipes and bongs and stuff at the next store. And when that got legislated out of existence, the owner just lost interest. So
the original owner of the business pretty much let him know that the days were numbered, and he was considering just shutting down the place.
I called Dan because he's the most musically knowledgeable guy that I know.
He and I were buddies through the music scene, and we shared multiple interests. He had worked here part-time in the 80s.
One of my jobs was part-time working at Rushmor Records, which at the time was across the block and down the street.
So he came to me just essentially, I think around 1994, and
said, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to give this a whirl?" And kind of said, "You're kind of made for this." And he agreed.
That was it. We shook hands. We said, let's do it for a year. Let's see what happens after a year. And it's 2020 now.
We were able to work a deal out with Dave Hogg, who's one of the original owners, and here we are now.
I used to see her a long time ago.
Milwaukee's been a music town, so to go, I go on a diatribe when you light me up on music, but I mean, we've been blessed. People are still, and they're very supportive of it still. Even when we see, bands that were once in the arena and now they're here, they're playing smaller clubs. It's still cool that people come out that are loyal. You find out these people have seen them 10, 15 times over the last 25, 30 years because they're loyal to it. They're not really following the fashion. Their passion is the music, and they want to support the artists.
At one point, Milwaukee was one of the top 10 largest cities in the country when the manufacturing base, we were in the machine shop for the world. So it's always had a really rich history. There's all sorts of cool little labels if you dig around, soul, polka. So there's always been a thriving musical history in Wisconsin and Milwaukee.
Personally, the Milwaukee Metal Fest, well, Jack Koshik, that was pretty ambitious for one person to essentially reach out and bring all these bands from abroad. I remember the earlier ones, specifically the first one. Some of the bands went on to be, I think the band Death weren't even Death yet. They were Mantis, or maybe they had just become Death, and Death Angel, they were kids, It was very inspiring to see guys your age, 16, 17, 18-year-old guys up there throwing down like that. So those are my memories, that it was the innocence, and recklessness of it all. You never know what would happen to the day itself of it happening. You're like, well, who's really going to play? Who's going to make it? Who's going to have a flat tire? Who's just going to show up? Who's not on the, they're not even on the flyer, but they're traveling. I remember one time seeing Venom and Slayer and Exodus were just hanging out at the merch table because they were kind of on tour with them, but they weren't on the bill that night. So they just hung out and partied in Milwaukee, and it was awesome. I came to age and I was able to go abroad and meet people from around the world, and it blew my mind to go to Germany and Holland, and they knew of Milwaukee from the Milwaukee Metal Fest. Even at that time.
We were really fortunate to have one of the first, just as I was coming of age, one of the first punk clubs that was opened in town. The first acknowledged ones were downtown and then on the Lower East Side, the Lower East Side, East Side. But we got one of our own down here, and it was run, it brought tons of bands through at that crucial age, when you're just a teen and getting into the 20s and just seeing great bands on their first tour.
First time I saw the word hardcore as far as a music genre was at Rush-Mor Records.
And so that was really crucial, I think, to me at least, to develop my sense of musicality and my taste in music, you know. The coolest record store in town, when we were struggling, when we first opened, you could go in there and, I mean, I was never treated this way, but I saw it, where people they'd come in and ask for something and they'd be like, really, you want that, you know, and just kind of make you feel like a dumbass for liking what you liked. And that's one thing that I couldn't abide by. There's no reason for it.
You don't want to come to a shop where you're not greeted or you feel uncomfortable coming in, but we like the idea that you can come in and almost say, please help me, and we're here. That's our job, you know, to help people with that. And I draw maps for people and send them, you know, the Bullseye music on the other side of town, or, you know, bring out the phone and mark off all the spots that they should check out, or if they have something that's very specific. Sometimes within a couple minutes of your time, they find it, and it's always nice when they get back to you and they say, hey, thank you for helping me, you know, obtain that, and they find other people. They're visiting in Milwaukee. I want them to have an experience in our city also. So the thought that I know that someone might be visiting from out of town looking for something particular, and I know that it's right up the road at Acme. You know, my friend Ken might be just sitting on it. Of course I'm going to send them there to get it. So it makes them happy, it supports my friend, and it encourages just a community. William Rouleau, Bill Rouleau, and I, we've always made it a mission. He's helped spearhead a lot of things, whether it was the Bayview Bash, which we've been proactive since its inception, the Bayview Pumpkin Pavilion, that's always been a fun event. He hosts multiple bicycle enthusiast event, you know, so a couple pub crawls throughout the year, the Tour de Farce and Biketober. And then as well as anything else that might be going on, there's great people in our neighborhood doing stuff. Our friends at Bernhardt's, they have a Mitten Fest that help the homeless, and it basically helps the Hunger Task Force, and that brings out 4,000 or 5,000 people. And it also breaks up winter. Winter can cause a real maudlin effect living here in the Midwest. It kind of shuts you down and it stops you from being physical, and that also works on your brain after a while. You know, it's a muscle. You wanna exercise it. So if you can get people out and break it up and you know, smash the blues by doing something positive. You know, I like to see when younger artists are doing things, we want to help them because they're the future visitors of the store. They're the future customers. They're the future people that are going to be doing stuff in your community. So you support them, they support us back, and vice versa. I mean, they've come to us, and sometimes it's something as simple as we don't have a place to play. It's like, play a show in our store, and it's great to see, you know, when 15 people show up and they splinter off, and 5 of those people go start, you know, a project. It's great, you know. I'd hate to think that someone didn't do something because they didn't have the help to do it.
We talk about it all the time. I mean, I don't think either one of us could go back to a straight job anymore, you know, and have someone tell you what to do. Or it's been great. It's been a great ride.
It's the people who come here. I mean, we could just sell online, I suppose, for a while, but I'd rather be doing something. I still have hope in people, and I'd hope that people want to come out and learn something maybe about themselves by meeting other people.
Unless someone comes along and says, hey, you know, if we can get a Trustafarian kid to come in here and offer us a big wad of money, then maybe Dan goes to Australia and I go on a bike trip somewhere, you know. But for now, there's no, just keep doing what we're doing and searching out new and unknown music.
So tell me about the name. I noticed it's RUSH-MOR.
Oh man, yeah.
Can I call you out on that? What's up?
Dude, that we inherited that. We had several discussions. I think I was trying to get him to call from a Simpsons episode. I was like, dude, let's call it Suicide Notes. And then, what other genius ideas do we have for band names? Or I'm sorry, store names. We kind of, But then after a while, we're like, well, it's established. Why f with it, you know? I mean, so that's why we're called Rushmor, you know?